Oh wow. Okay. So I never used this laptop before or this whole like record straight to YouTube thing, but I'm really strapped for time recently. I have to get ready tomorrow to sell some art at a little mini convention down in Puyallup or up in Puyallup. I don't know what direction it is there. Anyway, I just wanted to make a quick video real quick. I was mentioned this whole thing to my husband actually in passing while I was like making hamburgers. um, and I think I agree with a lot of things Merlin said. And I did watch half of Kai's before I got interrupted by one of my little ones. But I think for the most part, I feel like that Samurai Bob and like everyone else, I feel like I have to say like I also watch his videos. Like I think he has a lot of great opinions and recommendations, which is why I watch him. Um, he also seems like a pretty cool guy to the point where like if you disagree with him, it's fine. Like you disagreeing doesn't mean that you're trying to punch someone in the face or whatever. Like so that's another reason why I watch him because he's just like yeah you can disagree with me I don't care. So anyway yeah I guess I disagree with Samurai Bob. Um, mainly because I feel like everyone's kind of missing the point that Dragon Ball is basically it's not a standalone thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that have been added to it that other people have added to it that's been taken, you know, that wasn't supposed to be in the story, and there's a lot of like some fictional stuff for movies and everything, and so basically that's just what they're still doing. Um, And I guess you could look at it this way: is that it's kind of similar to how I guess Americans, like us as Americans, we have like Batman and Superman, and everyone just constantly remakes that all the time. But it's always just going to be kind of our thing. And I think people miss the point that that's how Dragon Ball is. Like, yes, there is that one creator. He's um still fairly young, and Dragon Ball is fairly young compared to things like the Marvel or the DC universe. But like it's it's never going to be this standalone thing. People are always going to be wanting more, and they're like how we watch and appreciate the remakes, the over and over remakes um of Superman and Batman, things like that, Spider-Man. Like it's the same thing in Japan. They're not gonna not stop liking it or whatever. And I think it's just lucky that they at least keep the same style, and then at the same time we're lucky enough to get Toriyama's input for this other movies, and so like it's I don't know, I'm excited. Like I grew up with Dragon Ball as a little kid, like a really tiny kid. Like I moved to America when I was 5, and I watched Dragon Ball like in Tagalog in the Philippines, and then continued watching it here. Um, People would like record it like friends in Japan would record it and then send it to one of our friends who would give it to us and lend us the VHS. Anyway, so it is a nostalgic thing, and I don't think it's. I think people understand it already. I think people that have grown up with it, they understand that it is a nostalgic thing, and it's not supposed to be this thing that's supposed to die off. Do you know what I mean? So it's I think because the way that Americans like see it, and I can kind of I never really watched like the American series, but I guess from like an American point of view, it's like no, why do they keep bringing this up and everything? And but what you need to understand is that it never died in Japan. They never stopped showing it on TV, even before there was some transition from the old ones to Dragon Ball Kai. They never stopped. It just switched over when they finally made Kai, but they were still constantly and showing the old series from 18 years ago. So it never left really in Japanese culture, and so I think that's the one thing to to keep in mind when you're like, oh, you should just let it die off. Like, why bring it back? It's like, no one's bringing it back. They're just adding to it. But I guess maybe from American point of view, like it looks like they're bringing it back, but then at the same time, I don't really understand that because what was it? I feel like I was a teenager when it first started coming out here. Anyway, so maybe getting a little bit off topic, but I think it's good that they're still doing it. And I think a lot of people should realize like things like Naruto and just a lot of the shonen fighting that you see nowadays. Like a lot of that wouldn't exist, basically, if Dragon Ball didn't exist. So, you know, it's one of the first ones to kind of do what it does with the fighting, and even if it is like mindless to a point, it's still, I mean, I still watch it now. You like take out all the fillers or whatever, and all the movies, like you still have that, I guess, nostalgic feeling as a kid of like, oh, and you really kind of get sucked into the action because you grew up with the characters, like you literally grew up with them, and so it's the same way about how Americans have grown up with Batman, or have they grown up with other things, and I think another thing is that like you need to remember that these series are no longer just for, I guess, anime fans or fans who are like comics or manga or whatever. Um, so one example, like Daredevil, everyone's watching Daredevil whether they read American comics or not. Like it's these characters and everything, whether it's Japanese made or American made, they've kind of reached a market where it just, it's not a niche market anymore, and everyone's watching it because they like it and it's good, and they have a bunch of creators and writers that keep pitching in to make it better. And they don't really do this with Japanese series and stuff. One that's like Dragon Ball. They might do it with like things like Crayon Shin-chan, or I'm forgetting the name, the cat that has no ears, Doraemon, and Anpanman. Like they're always gonna keep using those and reinventing them for the next generation of kids and stuff. But they don't really do it with series like Dragon Ball. And so I think since they're doing that, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we should just be thankful, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time and stuff, and like animators and all the people that pitch in to make all these movies and series and everything, like they get paid shit and stuff, and it's the only way they'll get paid if we, yeah, right. Well, like anyway, I'd like to think that they would get paid more if we supported their work. But I guess all I'm trying to say, like, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, if you just don't like it, then don't watch it and stuff. And I don't think them creating or continuing Dragon Ball is going to hurt Dragon Ball in any way. Like, it's just kind of reached the point where it can basically do whatever it wants. Just like our American superheroes and stuff from our comic books. And so I think you should think of it that way. Like it was never, as much as Akira Toriyama wanted it to be like, oh, it's so weird pronouncing it that way, Akira Toriyama. As much as he wanted it to be a standalone thing, and he wanted to quit it so many times and stuff, it's just, it became this thing that he wasn't ready for it to be, or that he never intended it to be, and that's just kind of the way it is. And I think him doing this movie is kind of interesting because it makes me wonder if he's just accepted that finally, and he's just kind of going along with it, or maybe like, I don't know, maybe seeing that even the youth, are still watching Dragon Ball, even though like no one's forcing them to, like it's on TV, and they stay connected. So for example, like my husband's brothers, how old are they? They're like early 20s, and she knew about with it as a kid, and then his brothers, they're twins. Yeah, they grew up with it too, even though by the time they were born, like they were done making series already, or no, they weren't. Yeah, the series was like over when they were 3. So, but they still grew up with it, and so did all of their friends, and all the teenagers nowadays. They're still watching it. It's, I think you just need to accept that it's just one of those things that are bigger than we're actually trying to admit it is. And that's all I wanted to say. Sorry for being wordy. Bye.